house and finding out about them. So I really love my job.
People must relate to the lives of the people.
目前还是一直要创新一些新的东西。我也不希望是人家把我看作是80岁的人。
There are those who dare to be different, who have made their mark in Singapore and beyond.
You have such big dreams, you know, you want to change the world with your art.
Obviously, every fighter wants to win, so all you can do is to prepare yourself to win.
Nana ちゃんは山梨名物のほうとう食べたいもの触れていません。
俺全部いつも置くかな。
こうやってなるんだ。
いい話。はいはい。
Japan Hour, Saturday on CMA. Japan Hour is brought to you by Sumitomo Corporation and SMBC.
Malaysia is seeing what many are calling a new dawn. I'm here to make sense of these changes taking place and bring you stories from a country that's charting a new direction for its future. Years ago, CNA, Kuala Lumpur.
Welcome back to Asia First. It's 9:30 Singapore, Hong Kong time. Here's another look at our top stories. Indian officials race to ramp up supply of a costly drug used to treat black fungus as cases of this deadly condition near 9,000. This as India continues to try to control the rampant spread of COVID-19. The official death toll is expected to cross the 300,000 mark later today. Belarus accused of hijacking and state terrorism. Its military forces a passenger plane to divert to Minsk because of what ended up being a false bomb alert, allowing Belarusian authorities to detain a key opposition blogger, with government officials across the EU calling for sanctions and international action.
Belarusian airspace is completely unsafe for any commercial flight, and it should be deemed this not only by EU but by international community.
And the U.S. government moves to impose wide-ranging restrictions on economic and security assistance to Ethiopia because of atrocities in the country's northern Tigray region, saying the time for action from the international community is now.
Malaysia's Prime Minister says that his government decided not to impose a complete lockdown because they need to balance the consideration between people's lives and livelihoods.
And Mr. Muhyiddin Yassin made the comment in an interview on the COVID-19 situation in the country, which was aired on national television yesterday.
Dia boleh tutup, tapi bila nak buka balik, mungkin sistem itu dah runtuh. Jadi sebab itu kita belajar dalam setahun ni, kita tak boleh tutup itu. Ekonomi tutup. Sebab itu kita kena imbang. It is between life and livelihood.
The Malaysian Prime Minister addressed various issues relating to the pandemic and its impact on Malaysians and the economy. That's after the government imposed what's known as Phase 3.0 of the Movement Control Order, which will take effect from tomorrow. It includes tighter measures such as ordering more employees to work from home and reducing public transport capacity by half.
But in the latest move to curb the spread of the virus, authorities have also put a cap on the time customers spend inside stores. Shoppers can only spend a maximum of 2 hours in retail premises, including shopping malls. This comes amid a fresh record of daily cases. Nearly 7,000 new infections were reported yesterday, the country's highest 24-hour tally since the pandemic began. It's also the fifth straight day the country has seen more than 6,000 new cases.
Mr. Muhyiddin stressed that the best way to stem the chain of infections is for everyone to strictly follow all the restrictions.
Jadi ini satu tanggungjawab bersama. Jadi kalau kita sedia menerima hakikat inilah masalah bersama. Yang kita kata approach kita bukan whole of government. Bukan soal whole of government. It is whole of society. Seluruh masyarakat mesti berganding bahu, baru kita boleh landaikan lengkok COVID-19 ni.
Exactly 510 days ago, China alerted the World Health Organization to a new cluster of mysterious pneumonia cases. The world has never been the same since.
Disrupted and devastated, COVID-19 is testing humankind like never before. Economies and communities locked down, reopened and locked down again.
A vicious cycle that could prolong with the virus mutating. It was hoped that the vaccines would bring the end in sight, but supply shortages and vaccine hesitancy threaten to derail that hope.
Pandemic fatigue is slowly but surely setting in. So how much more can people take? Are there red flags we need to watch out for? And how can we learn to cope with such fatigue?
Well, for more, let's speak now with Geraldine Tang. She's a principal psychologist at the therapy room. Dr. Tang, thank you so much for joining us. You know, I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who can identify with feelings of pandemic fatigue, you know, fed up with not traveling, not being able to see families, cannot gather with friends, etc. And what's the psychology behind this? Is it just being deprived of these things? And who are more prone to feeling it acutely?
Thank you for having me today. I think pandemic fatigue is very, very real, and it occurs with, you know, when we are in the situation where we are dealing with the pandemic, we have no other ways to go. There's so much restrictions. There's so much helplessness that each one is feeling, and we have no end in sight. And we are just told to just go on and on to deal with it, right? And uncertainty continues to build up. And just when we thought we could see a little bit of light, suddenly everything crashes all over again. And, you know, sometimes, and this time rather, is even closer to home. So many of the parents start to feel the heat because their children are involved in the whole situation. So it's no longer being very far away. Something that you watch on the news is coming closer and closer to us. So we're so tired after 1 year trying to deal with it, and we can't break out of it.
Dr. Tan, we spoke to another doctor a few weeks ago who said, you know, pandemic fatigue has sort of evolved into almost a sort of pandemic resentment. So it's not just people feeling tired about the circumstances right now, but they're actually feeling frustrated, feeling angry. What could happen if we don't deal with these emotions properly, or if we simply try to ignore them?
So I would describe it using a wound up toy. So all of us are like wound up toys right at this moment, right? So we are holding everything in. We're trying to deal with it. And, you know, the whole sense of when can we let the spring go, and will the spring actually work? And we want to just let it out. So there's a lot of irritability. There's a lot of, people that need to vent and cannot vent. They don't know who to vent to. So they start to feel very angry. And we do see people trying to vent on others. You see cases of abuse kind of increasing. You see less tolerance. So last year there was more tolerance to each other. There were care packs that were sent everywhere. We were telling each other to be kind. But this year you have a very angry sort of sensing all around. You know, that we don't want to deal with this anymore, you know, and we want the spring. And when the spring is permitted to let go, I really don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it doesn't help when, you know, people see other countries like those in Europe or the US and getting back to normal, whether by opening the borders or lifting mask mandates. Do such comparisons worsen feelings of pandemic fatigue?
I think Singapore being very small and there's only a limited